Good morning. Today I would like to talk about the Yamaha SR 150, which is manufactured by the piano manufacturer we all love and know, Yamaha. 20 years ago, this model was mass produced to act as a means of transport to help people to get around the city and to help transport goods. But now, since it has stopped production due to stricter emission regulations, this bike has now been discontinued. This bike has been discontinued, but if you have one and it's road legal, you can still drive it. A little bit more about this bike is I have it over a year now, and when I plan to shoot this video, it turns out I have left it aside for too long and it didn't start up properly. So I thought it was a really serious problem that my bike kind of broke down due to my lack of caring on this bike. So I asked a mechanic to check it, and luckily it didn't break down. And what we did was we tried to jump start the bike. It's not jump start, but just pressing the ignition and turning the throttle hard enough to start the bike itself. Nothing too major happened to this bike, so I still can take it a spin and talk about my thoughts on riding this bike. This is the Yamaha SR 150 that I currently own. It has a 150cc SOHC engine, which generates a humble max horsepower of 10.5 metric horsepower and 1.1 kgm torque. It is powered by a 5-speed change transmission with a rotary gearbox, and it has drum brakes on both wheels. It runs on a carburetor. That means it needs an adjustment valve on the left handle, and its petrol tank capacity is around 12 liters. Sitting height of this bike is at 755 millimeters and tires are 17 inches in diameter. The wheelbase is 1355 millimeter. With all of that good things combined together, this bike comes in a net weight of 134 kilograms. So what made me initially chose this bike is because of its box-shaped headlights and this rectangular gas tank. Everything about it, it's really about boxes and polygons, and I really dig that kind of aesthetic. It makes this bike stand out from the rest of the bikes. If you spot on the road, it's really easy to spot, so that's why I chose this model. Aside from its striking appearance, I also dig the fact that it has a cycling shift, where when you step the front pedal, it will increase a gear, and when you step the back, it will decrease a gear. And the magical thing about this is, if I step the pedal too many times, it will go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it will return to neutral, which is why it got its name called the cycling gear shift. This type of gear shift reminds me of a Honda EX5, where it is the bike that I used to look up to and the bike that I wish I could have. Due to safety concerns, cycling shift transmissions are slowly but surely on the decline because they pose some safety concerns. Now we call it the international clutch, where your first gear you have to step into the first gear and then you have to pull up the lever twice to enter the second gear. That is much safer compared to this because there's no meter to indicate which gear I'm in, and with that kind of fail-safe technology, I think in theory it saves a lot of lives, but I don't have the data to prove it. So yes, trust on me by that. To talk about my experience driving this bike, first of all, let's talk about the throttle. The throttle, it is really nice. It's really responsive. This bike, I was told that this bike used to carry gas tanks on the back. So the old owner, he modded this to be a little bit sluggish, I don't know what's the right term, but due to carry heavy object, he has to make this a little bit less responsive. And after that, when I got this bike from the last owner, he was driving it for recreational purposes, just like me. And so the mechanic fine-tuned this back to like commercial. So now it's really snappy when you pull. Yep. It's really snappy, really responsive. Just works just like a normal commercial bike now. Next, we'll talk about the clutch. About the clutch, so far I have heard from other people's experience, and I only have experience with 2 bikes. But I think this clutch is more user-friendly, more easier to ease in. I remember I drove a Hartford last time, and the Hartford, usually this is you pull the clutch and the Hartford will only bite in somewhere around here, and it's really precise. You have to be very accurate on when you release the clutch, otherwise you'll stall your bike. Not good. So to counter that problem, this SR150, it bites in quite easily. So when I release somewhere around here, I don't know if you can see it, somewhere around here, if I release about this much, the clutch starts biting into the transmission, and slowly release, and the bike will just go as expected. As for the brakes, since both of them are drum brakes, it is strongly advised that first, you avoid drum braking bikes unless you're like me, a vintage nut. And second, if you need to use drum brakes, make sure to brake in advance. So what a normal bike will go with is they will have disc brake on the front and drum brake on the rear. That is the normal standard nowadays. Or front disc, back disc. Whatever it is, both of these are drums. Old technology, make sure to brake in advance, is my experience told me.
Like any existing technology, there comes some shortcomings with it. Depending on the topics shared here, it could deter an average person from having this type of motorbike.
Alright, it's getting hot, so I decided to sit here for a while and talk to you about the setbacks of actually owning a bike like this. The first thing when I think about the bike is I want to drive a manual, and since I'm driving a manual, it will be definitely second-handed. The first-hand bikes are really expensive, so I picked something retro-ish and I went with this bike. Knowing that this is a manual and it has a clutch. So what I'm trying to say is manual transmission actually increases the difficulty, that's one thing. And second is if you pop open this seat cover for a modern commercial bike, what you discover is underneath here it's the cargo space where you can put your helmet, you can put your groceries, you can put your bag underneath it. But for this bike, in contrast to that, this bike, when you pop open this seat cover, all of it is just bare engine. There's no compartment for storage. To solve that problem, I actually have to install another saddle pouch just the other side. But even so, that saddle pouch can only hold about a maximum of 3 big water bottles. So I think that's about 10 liters of cargo space, which is not a lot. I still cannot put my helmet in there. So with that being said, these 2 points I'm trying to say using these 2 points is there's the fun part and the logical and commercial use of the bike, and it is really obvious why I went with the former, because I just want to try out this enthusiastic hobby of owning a retro bike. And the second one will be the cost of actually procuring one of these and maintaining them. I'll talk about the procurement side. Since they have been discontinued, and finding them on the second market is only your best option. And the second market is dictated by how hot is this bike, and how durable, how reputable this bike is. So for a bike that is about 20 years old, it still costed me $30,000. since I believe I'm paying something a little bit more that is called a vintage tax, what I call it as a vintage tax, it means that this bike has a really good heritage, a really good backstory, essentially. A good backstory, a really good engine, everything's really good about it compared to other bikes, other models. This bike can last longer, the parts in it can last longer than any other retro bike that I found during that time, so that's why it really top in terms of pricing. It's really one of the higher end second-hand bikes that you can buy if you have $30,000 in your bank. Oh yes, and with that amount of money, you could actually buy a reliable grocery getter transporting device, and you wouldn't have the headaches that I mentioned in the first point. There's no clutch for you to increase the difficulty, and you have actually cargo space with it. That's the real setback. The only upside for this is fuel economy, which, based on my experience, so if I drive this bike for once per month, I only need to refill it every 2 months, not twice, every 2 months. So basically what I'm driving right here is actually a valuable member of society, that is way past its prime, and I'm here to walk it through its retirement days. But I think so far that I really enjoy riding this bike. Maybe I will keep on riding it for a little while, and when it's time that I deem I'm fit to continue using this bike, I will definitely sell it to someone else. So I hope you like this type of review I'm making on my bike. I'm planning to do something else this year, and if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.